Hi, I'm Chris from Inside the Recording Studio podcast. In last week's episode, Jody and I talked about the pros and cons of mixing on studio monitors versus headphones. And one of the big cons of mixing on headphones is that they tend to be really hyped. So we tend to not make educated decisions based on what it is that we're hearing. In this video, we're going to take a look at a piece of software called Reference 4 by Sonarworks and how that can help us make better mixes that translate into different environments. Here we are in Logic, and as you can see, I have Sonarworks loaded as the last plugin in my main output. Now, this is not necessarily a tutorial on Sonarworks, but I just want to show you how much your headphone of choice might be hyped. So now we're just looking at the profile of my Sony MDR 7506s, and as we can see on the curve here, they are anything but flat. We have a fair bit of boost in the low end here. There is a rather drastic dip around the 200 area, and it actually starts just a little bit higher than the 100. So it kind of goes down almost 6 dB, which is fairly drastic. It comes back up, and then again in the high end, we got some pretty significant boost here again around in between, what is that, 2, 3, in between 4 and 5K, again about 7, and then we got another pretty hefty boost here at about 10K. So if you're not aware that they're hyped in this way, sure, you can use a lot of reference mixing, but I would rather have something that tells me what is actually going on with the audio. And if you're unaware that they're actually lying to you like this, it's hard to make educated decisions regarding your mix. Now, this is something that just about all headphones do, but I tend to use the Sonys here in my main setup, and I use this, and this has helped me tremendously. So what Sonarworks does is that it goes in and does a correction of the EQ curve to kind of compensate for that, and now you're getting a lot more of a flat response out of your headphones. Now let's take a look at another pair that I use, and that is the Beyerdynamics 770s. And here is that profile. Again, we can see that there's not as much anymore, but there's still a little bit of a hype in the low end. Another severe dip here around the 200, comes back up, but it still dips a little bit. And again, a massive hype in the high end. Now, you might be saying to yourself that, well, these are kind of budget-friendly headphones. So get yourself some better headphones, Chris. Well, that would be good advice, but that is not necessarily the whole story. Even headphones that are sort of higher end can have some of these hypes. So I want to show you a screenshot. I'm not going to show you the name of the headphones because this is not a video where I want to bag on headphone manufacturers and how they're created. That is way out of my expertise, but it does happen even on higher end headphones. So let's take a look at those right here. And here is that profile. The low end is a little bit tighter. We have a little bit of a dip, but if we take a look at the high end here, again, at 2, 3, 4, in between 4 and 5K, there is a rather significant boost of about 4 or 5 dB. And again, up here at 10K, we have an almost 9 dB boost. So it is not just necessarily related to budget headphones, but just about all headphones will have a certain amount of hype. And a piece of software like Sonarworks, again, this is not an ad for Sonarworks, but that can help you compensate for that and thereby having mixes that translate into different environments a lot easier than not being aware of this stuff. Hopefully you found that helpful. One last tip is that make sure you bypass Sonarworks before you do your bounce, or you're forcing that corrected profile onto your mix, and that's something that you definitely don't want.